Question 1. You guys seem to have a great working chemistry with one another. How did you become friends?
How did we become friends, Brian?
Oh, man.
What's the story behind this?
So the way I remember it, and correct me if I'm wrong, oh, God, this is going to go way back in the Wayback Machine. I met you going to his Nuntuck because I started community college in Enfield, and I was doing a more. I was interested in the radio station starting up. They were starting up the radio station. I was interested in that, and I got involved, and I started taking classes there. And you worked for the guy running the radio station.
Yes.
I can't pinpoint the first day we met. It's weird.
I can't either. But it's the funny thing is, I feel like you've been there forever. I feel like you were always part of that culture. It's so weird. It's just one day you're there on the radio.
Yes. I was there from the beginning.
Right.
Right? My other friend Mark, we kind of, we got the morning show going, and I was ingesting songs for the radio station and all that stuff. So,
what year did you start there? What time?
In 2002?
2002, maybe.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I don't think the radio station started until like that time, 2003.
Yeah.
So I was a year early. And then, but I met you around that time.
Yeah,
right.
And I think we're both kind of geeky. I think we're both into we have similar interests. But I would come around while you guys were doing your show and just say hi. And I knew your co-host.
Yeah.
Before you. And
yes.
Stuff. So I think that helped that we could hang out a little bit sometimes.
Yeah.
But it's funny how I think for years people would say you and I should hang out because we were maybe like.
Yes.
I helped you find a job that you're actually working with my wife.
Yes.
And
that's the other connection. But hold on, before we get into that part. So Ben, I was looking for a job. You and Tracy, your wife, were gonna have your first baby.
Yes.
And so Tracy had to leave work, and transitioning were happening at my LCTV where I work now, and you were like, "Hey Brian, there's going to be an opening at LCTV. You should go apply." And I did, and I actually came to your work. You helped me with my what's it called?
Your application?
Yeah. My resume.
Right.
And you drove me there.
Yes.
You introduced me to everybody.
To the boss.
Yep. And I got the job. Yep. Yeah. And so I think you all.
I put a good word in for you.
Yes.
So it's kind of funny. So, but after that, so your boss would always say, "Why don't you hang out with Brian?" or "Why don't you hang out with Ben?"
Yes.
And
yes.
I think my wife would say that, and people would always say, like, "Why aren't we hanging out?" And I do think we do have good chemistry, and we have very similar taste. And it's scary. More recently, it seems like we're on the same page on things. We write the same things. We say the same things sometimes. So
we're synced.
Yeah. So I don't know. I think it's fate, or it's just funny how we both happen to be at the same place at the same time. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I agree. And it's weird. Prior to doing the podcast together, we would hang out and talk to each other, even though I wasn't in the Nuntuck anymore. We would talk about Lost. We went to the Lost event together.
Yeah, it was a theater event. You're right.
Yeah, and we still we wouldn't hang out that much because you live far away from me, but we'd still like communication. Like we would still talk about. Like I came over with my Vita when you were working to show you my Vita, and like weird stuff like that. So we would still do stuff like that.
And you're involved with public access. Is that how we would run into each other, or just I guess partly because of my wife, you guys work and stuff too. But I'm just trying to think. It's funny. It is funny how we always run into each other talking about video games and movies and TV and
And then it was your well, I guess the next question goes into that. So I don't even want to jump the gun. Mm-hmm. So that's how we became friends, right? Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
it's just been this long.
I think
we're like the same person sometimes.
Sometimes. I think it's just a matter of years went by, and finally it's like, okay, let's really. I feel like our friendship really
blossomed.
Blossomed through this podcast.
Yes,
right? I mean,
I agree.
I feel like now we're talking to each other daily or texting or email and stuff. Whereas before this podcast, we would like run into each other every once in a while and say, "Oh yeah, do you know?"
Yeah, we start like talking forever.
Yeah,
and then we won't see each other for months, and we talk forever. So yeah, it's weird. I think it's strengthening. Yeah, it's made a very the friendship has become stronger, and I guess blossom is a weird word to use, but I'm going to use it. So this is going to lead into the second question. What made you two want to start a podcast for Twin Peaks together? And I'll let you answer that one because this was your
it was
brain.
my birthday party. I think my party, we had a party before my birthday, but and Bryon was invited, and Twin Peaks on Blu-ray. Well, yeah, for my birthday, I got Twin Peaks for my birthday, the Blu-ray.
Yes.
And that made me think, oh, I really want to do a podcast. And Bryon, you've been doing a podcast for years, and I said, boy, here's somebody who has experience with podcasts, who I have a great relationship with, and we have similar tastes with Lost and X-Files, and I think that this would be a really cool show to do. And so I think it really started with me just asking you, hey, what do you think about doing a Twin Peaks?
And what did I say?
I think you were like, yeah, why not? Right?
And the weird thing is, I remember hearing about the Blu-ray Twin Peaks coming out.
Right.
I messaged you or emailed you. I did something. I know I got a hold of you, and you were like, "Oh, I already know. I'm getting it for Christmas," and I was, or for your birthday, and I was like, "Oh, I'm gonna ask for it for Christmas." I've never watched. I've always wanted to watch it, so I got it on Christmas, and I was waiting for the perfect moment to watch it. And then when you said that, I was like, all right, this is awesome.
All right. And I just figured you had seen it by now because it had been several months had gone by. And I was like, oh, you haven't seen it yet. I think that was really exciting to do a podcast where you still hadn't watched it.
Yeah. So I was a lucky one. I'm happy you asked me because I think it's been awesome. I mean, it's been a great adventure. So the third question, now that you're both reviewed all the episodes and Firewalk with Me on your show, do you feel it has changed or maybe enhanced how you view the series and film? I guess for you it would be like, has it changed since the beginning? You know how you watched in the beginning?
Right.
Now, at this point in time, has reviewing it again changed anything for you? I guess I look at it that way.
I don't know if the show has changed me for the show. I sometimes appreciate maybe the production of the show, like being able to talk to somebody like Harley Payton and other people, and to see the work that goes into the show. I think I have even more appreciation for the show to understand what it takes to put a show together. So I think having done this and understanding, you have to really have a narrative and where is the show going and structure-wise. So I think maybe I have a more appreciation for the show, but I don't know if it changes how I look at the show at all.
So you look at the same.
Yeah, I mean.
Okay. For me, my view of the show in Firewalk with Me, I've only watched the show I've actually watched twice, once at home and once with you. Firewalk with Me I watched once, and I want to revisit everything again, but for me, watching it, and then like you say, I agree with you. I mean, hearing from the actors, the writers, the producers, and people, it does enhance. Listening to other experiences and other opinions about the show enhances it, and I think that's what makes it special. And it makes Twin Peaks special that 25 years, people are still talking, and there's a community out there that just want to keep talking and having theories, and it amazes me. And I think it enhanced. If I watched Twin Peaks by myself, I would consume it as a show and I wouldn't think about it. But now I do, and I'm like, oh my God, it's layers upon layers of cool stuff. So
totally,
I think doing the show enhances Twin Peaks for me.
And it's exciting. I mean, I feel like we're still learning new things. I mean, I'm still amazed. We did this whole Access Guide, and we found Richard Saul Warman, who was actually the writer, or one of the writers of that book. And I don't think that's something that the community knew in the last 25 years, that the involvement that he and his people had on the book. So it's exciting in that way, sometimes to be able to pick apart Twin Peaks and find new things.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. So we're going to answer the next question. Is there a character in Twin Peaks that you both like or relate to the most? If so, what is it about the character that appeals to you?
I mean, I feel like I always think everybody would answer this, but of course I love Cooper. I think Cooper because he's childish in some ways. He's in awe of the world, and at the same time, he's so smart and he can figure out things. But I also like that he's flawed. That he's a character. I mean, I think you can relate to him to say, "Hey, I make mistakes. I've done things that are wrong." And here's a character that, I mean, for him, it's his love life. It seems like it's his flaws. But I mean. I guess so.
You say Cooper?
Cooper.
And, well, so you pretty much answered the question. Now for me, Dale Cooper is the favorite, but at the same time, a part of me, as much as he wasn't in the show that much, David Lynch's character, Gordon Cole is so entertaining, and I don't know what it is.
It's because you get to kiss Shelley there.
You got to kiss Shelley. But for me, I love the way he yells. Because he can't hear, and he's always missaying things and hearing things. And I feel like that's half my life sometimes. I'm always at home going, "What did you say? Huh?" and like, I don't know, maybe I have bad hearing, but I kind of relate to that character at times in my life.
Oh, wow.
Because I constantly can't hear what people are saying. So Gordon Cole would be I would relate to him the most, and I just think he brings sometimes it gets serious, but he makes it kind of down to earth, kind of silly, and I like that about his character, and I hope we see him in season 3.
I hope so too.
Yeah, so I would say Gordon Cole just because
Cooper and Gordon Cole.
There you go. I'm always like, "What, Ben? What did you say?"
I'll just do the thumbs up.
Yes,
that's right.
Thumbs up. So next question. Do you each have a favorite episode from the series? And if so, what makes it your favorite? Oh, you go first.
I mean, there's so many good episodes. I mean, you could say the one where Maddie gets killed, but my favorite really would be the last episode, just because it's like nothing I've ever seen on television, where you have this whole red room and you don't know what's going to happen next, and it was just an amazing episode, just that whole scene, and then to see that Cooper, what happens to Cooper and stuff in the end. So, I mean, to me, that was a really good episode.
It's so hard for me to say if I have a favorite because I've only watched them once. But at this point in time, my favorite would be the episode after the death of Maddie. So...
Okay, so it is the episode that Leland gets caught.
Then it has to be that one.
They're out in the woods. And
yes.
They're out in the woods, and
they're having that conversation, and I love it. Because it was so cool that all of them were there having this deep conversation about what happened. And I think that's for me, it goes back to the soul of Twin Peaks is what evil men, what evil men can do.
Right, the evil that men
can do, right? Or, evil men do, but...
Is all that Bob is the evil that men do.
Yeah, now that's the trick question. Is a doppelganger Bob? Is Bob really just something for us to see in the show?
Sure.
Is what?
Right.
I really love the questions they bring up.
Oh, yeah.
And I love it. It's almost like they're thinking what the audience is thinking.
Totally. And we talked about on the show that episode... when I originally watched it, I said, "Oh, that's the last episode. Like, that's it. The show's over." And then you're like,
it could have ended right there.
It could have ended right there.
Perfect.
Maybe it should have. I don't know. But it felt like that was the end. Like, you felt like you wrapped up the Laura Palmer case. You captured the murderer. It's over.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
I mean, that was the last episode before season 2 kind of gets into the season slump a little bit, and it picks up. But that episode was just one of my favorites. And I love that conversation. I just love having those guys talk. And I wish there was more scenes with those guys talking about stuff like that. Right. And I loved it. The dialogue was really cool, and everything about it was
stuff.
Nice. Yeah. Next question. Can you tell me about how you guys came up with the idea every week for the show and how you divided the work involved? So I think I'll start it off. The show started with the idea of we would simply watch the show when we were doing the review. We'd watch the show on the computer, and me and you, we would open, discuss, and close each show. And then we would do specialty shows where we would come in, and we keep everything pretty confined to a segment, and you do some loose editing. Now that we're through the show, Ben, you had such an awesome idea that reinvigorated our show is the 2.0, which is more work. But I think overall, this makes the show stand out.
Yeah, now we have segments.
Yeah.
Right.
And I mean, tell us about, like, what was your idea behind that?
Well, we can step back from the original idea. It was interesting. It was going to be just we would cover each episode. And then I think, the order of it was that Brad Dukes actually was the first one to come on, and I think it was related to, I don't even know what it was related to now. I wanted to say it was related to the festival, but I don't even know if that was it. Now I'm losing.
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I think it was interesting though that originally we were just going to do each episode, and I was intrigued by Joel's work and his video essays that he was doing, and I thought, hey, this would be a great guy to have on, to have another take of more of looking at a whole season, the first season. Let's have him on, and we can discuss a whole season, kind of a way of reflecting before we get into season 2.
Yeah.
So that's that kind of began where we started doing specials, because I think at the first season I don't think we had any specials really. It was just us doing episode after episode. So, and then also, so it was great to have these specials and do other shows in between. But I also saw a point where I wanted us to actually cover the last episode 29, on the 25th anniversary. So then it was kind of something where okay, we need to stretch the show further along and have these other specials to so we could actually line up.
Yeah.
But 2.0 is exciting. I mean, I think it's really exciting to be able to now focus on maybe Twin Peaks stories and have a guest of the week. And you were, Bryon, you were covering the Log Lady interviews, but I just couldn't wrap my head around it. It's I felt I don't want to talk about the Log Lady until we've seen the whole series, but only because that's the way I had seen it originally. Log Lady was after, it was 93. So here we get a chance to do that again. But
and I don't know. We divide the work. We do the work here together, and then Ben brings it home and does his magic.
We both do it. We both do our magic.
Well, I mean,
I think we share.
I've done a couple shows, right. But I mean, for the most part, you put the magic into 2.0.
Yeah. Well, we both...
Just say you have.
No. But I think we divide the work. I mean, there is a lot of pre-production that goes into this. I mean, there's a lot of okay, what is our show going to be about? And what guests can we get? And a lot of times, we might reach out and try to get somebody, and then it falls through.
Yeah.
And so there's a lot of planning. But I mean, so I think it's a lot of planning, and then usually we will discuss and say, okay, for this show, can you edit this show? And I'll bring in this information, and we each bring in our own research to try make the show.
Definitely. Yeah. So it's,
Is that really explain it? I don't know if
it does. It's equal. We'll say it's equal.
I think it's equal.
Equal, yeah. 7, you recently changed the format of the podcast and added weekly segments, which is really by the way. What prompted that change? Which is kind of ties into the last question.
Yeah.
I think your idea was hey, September. It's like when we get a new TV show in the fall or the new season starts. Mm-hmm. Why don't we go out with a bang, Silencio being the last of 1.0, and when we do 2.0, that changes it up.
Yeah.
And I think that, and who knows, next year we might do something completely different.
Totally. And I think what happened was originally, when we were doing this podcast, I really thought Twin Peaks was coming out in 2016. At least that's what they originally seemed to hint at.
Yeah.
So I said, okay, we'll cover the whole series, and then we'll be right in time for the new series. And then we find out that the show's not coming out to 2017. And it's we can't, I feel like we couldn't keep going the way we could. We could, but it'd be a little harder. And I think to try and keep it fresh, and we needed to change it up.
Yep. And I think it's worked. It's been awesome. 8. Since starting your podcast, what has been the most enjoyable aspect of being involved in the fan community for you two? Ben, you wanna?
Yeah, I gotta read it again. What number were we at?
8. Since starting your podcast, what has been the most enjoyable aspect of being involved in the fan community for you too? I know for me, and I'm sure for you as well, it would be meeting everybody. I mean, one of my highlights of 2016 is going to Virginia with you and meeting Scott Ryan and meeting John Thorne and meeting everybody involved in the community and meeting people who listen to our show, which is so bizarre when they go, I listened to you. And I'm like, huh? Like, it's odd. But I think for me, that's the most enjoyable aspect is meeting people involved in the community, and people really are passionate, and it's a tight-knit community. And I think everyone's fantastic. And for me, it's just meeting everybody and just enjoying the thoughts and ideas and everything.
Yeah, I agree with that, and I'll add to that. So I think for me, the most enjoyable aspect of being involved with the fan community is how they're able to actually add to the show, and really their creativity, I think, makes it better. I mean, I think about John Bernardi. I mean, him always complaining and constructive criticism, and him saying, "Oh, you need to work on this, this, and this," made us better, and it made our show better.
Yep.
And I think about Silencio, who was kind enough to let us use their music for the new series, for the new 2.0 show. And I think about Andy Bentley, who's he actually reached out to us and said, "Oh, I think you really should do the Dale Cooper book," which we were going to do anyways. And I want to be a part of that. And then he's a graphic designer, and he designed our new image profile picture and stuff like that. So it's really the community who a lot of times they'll reach out to us and say, "Hey, have you thought about this? Have you thought about that?" And that makes our show better.
Yeah, that's a good point. So number 9, can you offer any scoops on upcoming guests or topics for future episodes?
Yes. I mean, I've already brought some up. I will bring up Harley Payton. So Harley Payton is going to be coming up soon. I don't know if this is going to come out in time for that, but
future episodes we're gonna be doing Elephant Man with John Thorne. We're gonna be doing Inland Empire
with Mark from the Deer Meadow Radio.
And also Dune. Any guests on that one yet, or no?
We have not planned on the guest yet.
But we're going to be doing Dune. Yes. So that's a future project.
If there's somebody who's really passionate about Dune, you can always email us, and maybe we consider you as a guest host for Dune.
And I would say guests, we like to keep things a mystery on the podcast. Tuesdays, we've getting in the habit of teasing who we're going to have. The biggest piece of advice I know Ben was given was don't say who you're going to have on, because sometimes it doesn't happen. So I think our philosophy is to keep our special guests close to us until it actually is recorded.
Right.
So we would love to indulge who we possibly could have on the show, but we don't want to say anything in case it doesn't happen.
I agree. And what we can say is we actively pursue actors and other people that are related to the show. Like we're constantly trying to reach out to them, and sometimes it's very close and it happens, and other times it's been close and it just falls apart. But we in between our other shows, we're always reaching out to people, and who knows?
We got to keep the mystery alive. Okay, so next question. I started off in radio with college radio, learning how to do radio on the local side, community college radio. And then that's how I met you. And then I had graduated. So I left college radio and I heard of podcasting. Believe it or not, I worked in the restaurant business for 10 years. And I used to read the paper like on a Sunday. I was bored. So I'm reading the paper and I see this thing about podcasting. I didn't know what podcasting was. And there was this whole article about these two women. They're moms, right? And they were hawking products on their podcast, and they were making money. Now, this is like the beginning of podcasting. Kevin Smith had started his podcast, and these people I kind of looked up to in the movie industry that I really liked. And I read about these women, and I remember calling my friend Mark, who I do another show with, going, podcasting, we should take our radio show to podcasting. I don't know how to do it. We need a computer. We need all this stuff, but I think we could do it. And then we didn't do anything. We did a TV show instead on music. And then we realized, hey, that same computer we're editing on, it has Adobe Audition. And we can hook up another microphone that does voiceovers. And we have a mixer. Oh, man, we can do a podcast. And then we started the podcast in 2009. And we're still doing it to this day. The B&M Baked Podcast. It's just a pop culture kind of. We talk about movies, music, comics. We go to cons and all that stuff. And I've been doing that every Monday. And then that we started our Twin Peaks Unwrapped last year in June.
Yeah.
And how did you start up to this point, I guess? What would be your side of the story?
Sure. So my background has been always in video production, and you haven't said it, but your background is in video production.
Yes.
We do both
public access.
Public access.
Yep.
So I mean, definitely in college. I mean, I step back to say that like David Lynch really, with Twin Peaks, really made me excited about video, or film.
Yeah.
And so when I went to school and I was thinking about a major, I really wanted to do something that involved video production. So that's really in college I went there. And when I graduated college, I found a job where I could do video production. I mean, that's what at least it's more media, general media in a college. And so that's pretty much where my background started was I had some audio. I mean, I have some audio background too. Mm-hmm. But it was really about video, and a lot of my own projects were always kind of like, okay, I would do like a wedding videos, and I would do I'd do all these like little side project videos and stuff, and then and I always thought maybe I would be an editor for television or film. I thought about going to California and trying to make a life at that, but I mean I'm happy with how life turned out.
Yeah, editing's fun.
It is, I really enjoy just the editing, what we do in this show and stuff. But so I mean, my background, and what we're working on, or now, or is that current, or in the past, or what?
Background and other podcast projects you're working on. I mean, we're working together on this 2.0 of Twin Peaks Unwrapped, which is a new iteration of our old show, and I feel this show will always evolve. We'll always make it different. And I have my other show, which I mentioned. But other than that, are you working on anything else?
I don't have any time with my children. I mean, I have 3 kids.
You're working on being a father.
I'm working on every day. I'm working on being a father. So yeah, there isn't much other projects. I know I keep wanting to. If there's any other projects, it would be on this show. I still have this animated Twin Peaks project I want to do. Yes. I actually put out one episode. It was I think our 10-minute introduction to the Twin Peaks Unwrapped.
It's cool. It's up.
It's cool. It's up on YouTube. You could just type Twin Peaks Unwrapped and you might be able to find it. But I still think I'm always thinking it's if I ever have some free time, I want to maybe do most of our shows that we've done and turn them into animated.
That would be cool.
The problem is there's so much time that it takes to try to put that together. I wanted to keep it simple where it's just two talking heads, but if you want to do anything more, it could take weeks of my time, and I don't have that time. But so if we have more time, it will go towards this show. I mean, that's really what I want.
Yep, definitely. We'll go on to 11. What is the one thing you're both hoping to see the most in season 3 of Twin Peaks?
Well, I definitely want to. I mean, it's obvious that we're going to see him, but I definitely want to see a lot of Dale Cooper. But I'm hoping we see the good Dale Cooper. I'm hoping for the childish or the child excitement in the world, and that there's still some good Cooper that we see. So I'm excited to see that, and I really want to see the Red Room and the spiritual world and that really supernatural mythology of Twin Peaks. So I'm really pumped to see that Cooper and the mythology.
Yep. For me, I really want to see. I really want to see the side characters that we've come to love, like Nadine and Big Ed and Norma and Shelly and Leo and Bobby. I want to see where they are. But I don't want a lot of that. I just want a little bit saying this is where they are in life. And I hope they're in a good place. Yeah. Because they left on a bad place. A lot of them left in a bad place, other than Shelly and Bobby. I want to know what happened to these people. But at the same time, I want it to be more focused on Cooper, Dale Cooper. I want this to really give us this. I want what Firewalk with Me did for Laura Palmer. I want this to do to Dale Cooper. I want this to be the Dale Cooper story that we always wanted. Right. I really want that. I want to see his fall from grace to being saved by Laura Palmer.
That's what I want that too.
Yeah. So number 12. If you each had to pick one piece of dialogue from the series or film to describe yourselves, what would it be? And if I had to guess, I can almost guess yours. What would yours be, Ben?
Well, you got to guess it then.
I will tell you if I'm right or wrong, and I'll be totally honest. What would your dialogue be?
Every day, give yourself...
Yes, that's it.
Every day, give yourself a present. I mean...
You know why? That's mine.
I tell you, isn't that crazy?
It is the best. It is the best
line.
It is the best quote from any show. Yes. It's the one quote I think about on a daily basis.
Because you've got to give yourself a present every day. Right?
Every time I get that 9th coffee of the day, I think of that, and I said, why not? No. When I have my 2nd or 3rd coffee, I go, yeah. I think of that.
Cooper says you should.
And I should.
Yeah, right.
So... yeah, I knew it was going to be yours, and that's definitely mine, too.
I know, because it's so funny. Like, I'm reading that question, and, like, that's the first thing I'm thinking is, like, should I think about another quote? Wait a minute, that's the first thing that comes in my head. I should just say, that's it.
Yep.
I mean, yeah.
Same here.
Right.
No questions. 13. Do you think in another 25 years we'll still be talking about Twin Peaks? That question will be determined by season 3.
Mm-hmm. I would still say yes. I would say even if Twin Peaks is horrible, and like it just is just unwatchable, I still think 25 years from now they'll talk about the original series in the Red Room and all this stuff, and then they can still, as a footnote, say, well, 2017 season 3 was not so good.
And there's no way. I don't think it's possible that it's going to be good, because I think as a Lynch fan, we'll eat it up. We'll be critical, but we'll still eat it up, because that was almost our favorite time when Twin Peaks soared was with Lynch.
Yes.
Well,
I even think about Firewalk with Me. It was panned. It was panned almost 25 years ago. I think next summer will be 25 years for Firewalk with Me. And back then... the critics hated it, and now if you talk to a lot of people, they actually do enjoy the film now, and they do like it better, and they could, and I feel the same way. In 25 years again, they're going to be talking about Twin Peaks, whether it was good or bad. It's still going to be something that's going to be in pop culture, I think.
And I think going into this podcast, I was quite amazed that this show is talked about the way it is, and what a community has, but.
And you and I didn't even know this community existed.
I didn't. Yes. And I didn't. Okay, even with those bad episodes.
Yes.
This show still captures the imagination. And if you were to take any show right now, right? We're so hypercritical, and we all have to have reviews of everything. Like, and I do it myself. We all do it. If a show came out right now, and the 2nd season sucked, right? The 1st season was so great. 2nd season sucked. 5 years down the road, what was that show?
Yeah.
I don't even know what. Oh, yeah, that show. The 1st season was really good. 2nd season wasn't good. End of story.
Right.
But how did Twin Peaks survive? Even though it had that weird lull in season 2, it survived because of the mysteries and the fan base.
Right.
And it's something we'll never see again. I don't know. What will we ever see a show like this ever capture the imagination like this?
Twin Peaks 2017.
I mean, Lost, right?
Yes, Lost did that. Yeah.
Lost had some bad episodes, and it had people were divided on that last episode. But I don't still think it's talked like Twin Peaks.
No.
But I'm not in that community as much either. So
yeah.
I don't know.
And I do think it was that last episode of episode 29 of Twin Peaks. That is why we're still talking about it, though. It's that kind of thing that it was so crazy. And then for Cooper to see his reflection and be Bob, or the doppelganger see Bob.
Yeah.
It's that I mean, it's just... It's something that we just had to keep talking about, I think.
The cliffhanger that we never got an answer to.
Right.
So many cliffhangers. So maybe that's it, right? It was so cool to have all these cliffhangers because they wanted the show to come back.
Right.
But it didn't. So now all the fans are waiting 25 years. So it's pretty amazing, though.
Cool.
So I think that's it.
I think so. Thank you.